Hey, how's it going, everybody? So today's video is going to be on meditation and learning to create a meditation practice when you've had a hard time doing so far. I think it's a really common thing today for us spiritual seekers because we don't have the tradition that our ancestors and the yogis and the shamans had. I think it's really hard for us to learn to meditate for a lot of us. It's something that I see as one of the most consistent patterns with everybody. And even the people who have learned to meditate know how hard it is because they do it every day. They battle their mind and gain control again. And so it's a practice. After a while, it gets easy. It doesn't. I think eventually you do integrate meditation, and then maybe you don't even need to meditate eventually. But I don't think there's. I think that's much more of a special, rare experience that comes far down the road. But there's two major types of meditation, I think, that most people know about today. One being mindfulness meditation, and the other being transcendental meditation. And so transcendental meditation is when you hear about people connecting with spirit guides and connecting to their past lives and having an experience outside of their body and all that kind of stuff. That's transcendental meditation. That's transcending this experience, right? This physical experience. And the other half of meditation is mindfulness meditation. And so a lot of people will say that these two don't go together and that they're separate practices and one's right and the other's wrong, or vice versa. And what I've found is they go together. They're just two different tools. They go in the same toolbox, this life experience, but they're two different tools for different purposes. And so for someone who's done a lot of journeying and who has a calm mind, they probably could get a lot out of transcendental meditation without ever even trying mindfulness meditation. But for most of us, I think, for those of us that are still carrying trauma, most of us, right? For those of us that when we sit down to breathe, if we've ever tried to meditate, our minds, the chatter just keeps going, and we haven't really been able to break into some transcendental experience yet. And so mindfulness meditation is about calming the mind and calming the energy in our bodies to slow down enough and calm down enough so that we can hear the subtle energies. Because what's happening in all of our minds, for the most part, I think, at least for a lot of us, is that because of our busy lives and because we're not hunting and gathering and chopping wood and carrying water anymore, our minds are running all over the place all the time, and we're super scattered, and we don't really know how to sit with ourselves and just be. We can't really not think. And the reason this happens is because we have been conditioned and brainwashed by our society. I don't want to go into all that. I'll probably make a video about that later. But the design of our system has been, of the system in the world today, created by the humans, it's been to give us stimulation and to distract us and to keep this 3D physical experience going and getting bigger and more exciting. And we've put all our eggs in that basket, the physical basket, the one where what's real is what we can see, or what we can prove, right? And what I think is starting to happen on the planet right now, and it's been happening for a while, ever since really the hippie movement. I think they really kickstarted it for us. But what's been happening is people have been realizing that there's another half, if not much more than half, of reality. And it's non-physical. It's non-provable. This is not something that the way we've gone about things, the scientific method, and just this is something that's experiential. This is something that's intuitional, that goes beyond the normal intellect, the rational mind. And in my opinion, in my experience, is that reality is the real reality. And this is what ancient teachings will tell you. If you look at Eastern teachings or shamanic teachings, if you talk to a shaman, this is what they'll tell you, is that this reality, this beautiful reality we're in here, I'm out here in the redwoods, but that this reality here is like an illusion. It's almost like a video game that we're playing. And me and you, we are eternal beings that reincarnate from lifetime to lifetime, maybe from planet to planet, maybe from lifetime to non-lifetime. Like, maybe we're a spirit guide here or there, you know? And that the true experience of reality that's accessible to us, that we've forgotten about, that we've been, strategically conditioned to forget about. The true nature reality, the quantum, right, is everything. It's what we are. When the Bible talks about I am, it's the realization of I am is the realization that everyone and everything that has ever existed, including God and all of it, the whole entire universe is you. And there's only you. We are one, everyone is one, and everyone, and you are everyone. That whole hippie thing is real. And it's more viscerally, experientially real than most people can begin to even remotely fathom. And the vibration that, and the energy and the emotion that comes out of that energy is love. It's unconditional love, peace, and bliss. And we have been conditioned by our society and by ourselves, really, to forget about that and to value stimulation and distraction and the physical and sex and getting drunk and feeling things like in a physical way, and having things, getting to hold on to things, physical things, right? But what the true experience of reality is non-physical. It's multi-dimensional. The true wealth of life is everywhere, in every moment, in every place, accessible to anyone as soon as they decide they want it, and it's worth a shot. As soon as they decide to grab it, go up, like it's like the cash drawer sitting in front of you with $1 million in it, and you're a poor person, and you're saying you're poor, and you have a cash drawer sitting there, and you're just like, I don't want to talk about it. I don't have a cash drawer, but it's sitting there. It's on the table. You're just in fucking denial, and at some point you realize, I have a fucking cash drawer full of $1 million cash. I don't have to be a fucking poor person anymore. Can you imagine how crazy that would feel? To just all of a sudden wake up to that situation? And so that's even more exaggerated is the nature of this reality that we're in. That's exactly what the situation we're all in. We're all a broke person that's homeless, that has a cash drawer they're carrying around this cash drawer with $1 million cash, being homeless. It's pretty nuts. We're carrying around this spiritual heritage, this portal to God, to the oneness, to knowing not knowing everything, but knowing everything you need to know. And we're carrying it around, and we've been carrying it around the whole time. And because of the situation that we're in, and the people that we're around, and the energies that we associate with, we're sad, and we're broken, and we're hopeless. And we're carrying around God. We're carrying around this portal to spirit that instantly becomes when you step into that portal, everything that ever was becomes dissolved for the most part, because everything that we ever thought is not it. It's one little part of the puzzle, one little piece. There's another 1,000 pieces. And so the reason why I'm making this video is to teach the basics of mindfulness meditation. And the reason why mindfulness meditation is because mindfulness meditation is about calming the mind. It's about creating a space where patience and persistence of spirit can be. Allowing ourselves to sit and wait for the ego to slow down and fall out a little bit at a time. This is not something that usually happens very quickly or immediately. It's also something really great to have in your pocket for if you smoke weed, or if you do plant medicine ceremony, or anything like that, or if you've messed with psychedelics in the past and never really had any integrative experiences with it where it changed your life, then this is the tool that gives you the ability to go into those journeys and bring something back. Meditation is the way that everyone that's ever had the transcendental experience has done it, no matter how they've done it. They may not have sat down and meditated, but they hit that meditative state. When the quantum experience happens, it's the same thing as what people do that meditate are trying to access. And it's all the same. It doesn't matter how you get there. There's the quantum realm is there, and there's a lot of different ways to get there. Some take you there temporarily, and you have to learn how to integrate it, like plant medicine. And then some, like meditation, slowly you are able to get on the steps that lead you there, and you realize you're on the staircase that goes there, and you slowly walk up the path. Or like what I do is I do all of it. I use all the tools. Whatever is guided at the moment, whatever feels like it's going to be resonant, and when I'm going through whatever, I just go with my intuition, and I follow that. That's all you can really do at the end of the day. You can listen to people and do all the research, but inner exploration and learning to listen to the subtle, quiet whisper of your soul and your spirit and your higher self and Gaia, this planet, and our angels and God, or whatever you want to call it, It's all really the same thing. It's all one. We are one with all of that. And they're all within us, trying to talk to us all the time, usually. But because our minds are so full of chatter, we don't hear it. And so, I've been going on a bunch, but I wanted to give a good background for this this understanding and this energy, so that you guys can go into this, try these steps out and understand a little bit more about what you're going into and the different parts of it, so you can maybe not fall into the pitfalls quite as much as the rest of us do. I think this is just part of it. As more of us wake up and more of us share our perspectives and our perceptions, it becomes easier and easier for the next generations and the next people that are waking up to do it, because we've blazed the trail a little bit more. It's always just a little bit more. So, 3 steps, okay? So step 1 is really all about preparation. It's about having no demands or no needs or expectations is a good word for what the experience is supposed to do or how it's supposed to feel or what you're supposed to experience or what's supposed to happen. Meditation and the quantum is only available in the here and now. And when we have expectations, we prevent ourselves from being in the here and now because we're worried about what's going to happen down the road a little bit. Like even if it's just 30 seconds later or 5 minutes later, we're still in the future. We're not in the present moment. And it's really wild when you finally get there. Anybody that's ever experienced it knows that when you finally hit the present moment, it's like this experience of, holy shit, that's all I had to do. It's really just letting go. And letting go is what meditation and mindfulness meditation really trains the brain to be able to do, because our brains are trained not to let go. Our brains are trained to be like a crackhead, like a cokehead, like running around like like looking for the fucking shit. Like where's the shit next shit to do? Manja. You know what I mean? That's what we're doing all the time. Even us normal people that are pretty integrated in our reality, and we might not really have a lot of problems in the physical world. But if we haven't really dived in and done this work, most likely, in our subconscious, the 90% of our thoughts that we're not aware of at all that's what's happening. Our conscious mind might seem calm because we've pushed everything down into the subconscious. And so having no demands and having no expectations and really going into the meditation with like a student, like a fresh mind, like teacher, spirit, universe, God, earth, show me. I don't know anything. And so when you go into it with that energy of ultimate humbleness, that's a word, humility, that is a major key to being able to have breakthrough and not circle with the mind. All right, so step 2. Step 2 is breath work. All right, and so I'm sure you've heard of this before. Breath work is a pretty popular thing in the spiritual community. And what breath work really is it's almost like a mantra. I don't know if you guys are familiar with mantras or not, but a mantra is something that you use, that you repeat, usually a Sanskrit word, but it doesn't have to be. But it's just the concept of a mantra is like a touchstone that you repeat. It's an energy that you repeat over and over and over and over and over. And by focusing only on that word and that sound and that energy, it gives the ego and the mind and thoughts, that's the nonstop trying to avoid being, that's happening within your brain. It gives it no choice really but to fuck off. And when it fucks off, God arrives, Spirit, Mother arrives, right? And then that's when you have that experience. And so mantras are a little bit harder, I think, for most of us, because for a few different reasons, but I think primarily just because we are, in the Western world, it's hard to say a word over and over and over and over again and not be thinking about it and then stop. It requires a good bit of letting go to be able to do a mantra. And so breath work is the first mantra, I think, for everybody. Breath work is, the way you do breath work is very much the way you do a mantra. There's different kinds of breath work as well. There's some kinds of breath work that aren't really used to go within. They're more used to activate DMT, and that's not really what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is using your breath as a tool to learn how to calm the mind and achieve, greater and greater states of peace and tranquility, and eventually connect with something greater, something higher than just this physical reality. And so for breath work, something I want to go over is that part of the reason why breath work works so well, and part of the reason why we need to do it, is because we, our ancestors were primitive people, right? And our ancestors had what's called a flight or fight response. And what happens when the fight or flight response is activated, I'm sure you guys are familiar, is adrenaline rushes through the body. The body shuts off the energy flow going to your digestion, to all these different things. You can look it up. If you look it up, it's very interesting. I don't know all the exact details about it. But basically, when your fight or flight response is activated, when something happens, something like in our ancestors, it was when a lion came running at us, right? Or when a neighboring tribe came and was about to siege on our village or whatever, right? And so in those situations, that energy coming into your body to physically defend yourself and to take care, or to run, right? To channel, like the mom lifting the minivan over the baby, you know what I mean? That kind of energy, that's fight or flight response. That's what that is. It gives us this ability to channel immense power into our physical vessel, into our body, into our muscles. It does not help us to be calm. Fight or flight is the opposite of that. It's anxious. It's panic attack. It's literally fight or flight response is a panic attack. We have panic attacks today because we go to 9-to-5 jobs that we don't like, that are choking us energetically, for a lot of us at least. And a lot of us can't afford to live the kind of life we want to live. And we're constantly worrying about the bills and about this and about that and about this relationship and this shit and all this and everything that's going wrong in our lives because we're in a mess. And what's happened is we've evolved. We don't have lions chasing us anymore. Fear of survival is not the main problem for people anymore. I think that, in some countries and there's parts of the world where it's definitely still third world and survival is a major problem. But overall, humanity has gotten past survival. We've learned how to do that. I think we need to help the rest of the planet figure that out, obviously. But we don't need to be running, most of us don't need to feel anxiety and a panic attack so we can get away from the lion successfully. Or we can beat the tribe that's coming to take all our stuff and burn our village and kill everybody, right? So we can channel this power to do something about it, right? But today, things have changed. Life is kind of evolving. Like, what is the point of being alive? That's something to think about. There is a point to it. It's not just a shit show that we're just supposed to just let continue get more crazy. We're supposed to wake up and become conscious. And the reason why it's a shit show and we all think it's normal is because none of us, or not a lot of us, and it's more and more every day are waking up, but a lot of us don't really know spirit. We're not connected to spirit. And so this seems like all there is. And it's not. It's not even the true picture of what's really going on. And so back to the breath work. I'm going off on a tangent. But yeah, so basically, the 9 to 5 in our modern life has put us in a place where we are constantly in fight or flight because the bills are always coming, and because we are always having to work, and because this is just, and it's different for different people in different situations, the exact reasons why, the exact 9 to 5 or the exact fight or flight triggers that activate that response. But because of the way our world has evolved, where we're at now is where we're all just kind of anxious all the time, and none of us really realize it, and it's really nuts. We're all playing confident asshole dude, and really there's this anxious little kid inside, like the bully energy, So the reason why we do the breath work is because when we slow down our breath, right, we slow down our speed of energy, our racing, like how quick our thoughts happen, how racy we are, how anxious we are. That changes. You cannot have a panic attack while you are breathing calmly and slowly. It's impossible. And people don't know this, and we're not taught this for a reason, But when you learn these techniques, and when you focus on slowing down the breath and slowing down the breath and slowing down the breath, what happens is the mind stops chattering over time. It slowly starts to be more quiet, and it requires coming back and coming back and coming back to meditation every day, pretty much, to be able to really see the benefits. I think you don't have to do it every day to see the benefits, but you won't see the benefits until you do it every day. I think, for me, I didn't start doing it every day right off the bat. It took me I wanted to. It took me a long time to get to the place where I was doing it every day. And even now, I'm not perfect at it. But I only really started to stop feeling like shit and be able to easily drop in and to be able to have access to the spiritual realm when I started doing it every day. So, anyways, that would be my advice. But yeah, so the breath work slows down our energy, slows down our heart rate, then slows down our mind, and it allows us to become calm, where wisdom and higher guidance and spiritual awareness of everything that is, and I'm trying to explain something that's unexplainable, but this thing starts to happen to you that's very subtle and very quiet once you become quiet enough to hear it. Because if you're yelling, you can't hear the whisper in your ear. Okay? So you want to focus on the breath and stay there and to continue to come back as distracted. Okay? You sit, breathe. You're going to find yourself off in different places. Don't get upset about it. Tell yourself it's okay. That's another thing, is we all have this wound of not being good enough, and so we beat ourselves up, and it doesn't help the process. So, pat yourself on the back every time you try, every time you get up and you do it, even if nothing works, every time you go against the ego, every time you try to do something new, that is a victory, and you need to celebrate it. Otherwise, you're not going to have enough energy to do it the next time and fight the ego. You really got to celebrate this process. It'll make it so much easier, I promise. I didn't. I've made it a lot harder than it needed to be for many years. So take my advice, celebrate it, make it high vibe, learn to let go, and just, learn to not care what people think. That's another thing. Because we don't allow ourselves to do a lot of these things because we're worried about what people might think about us if they saw us. They might not even be around, but we're worried about, if someone saw me, then they'd think this, and so we don't do it. We stay in the mind. But we got to get out of the mind. We got to drop into the breath. All right? Okay. And so the last thing I want to say about breath work is the timing that I would suggest. And I got this from the Yoga Sutras, which is a really profound book. Definitely something I would recommend. I'll probably make a video on it at some point, honestly. But what you want to do with the breath work is you want to do a consistent cycle, especially starting out. And so what you want to do is you want to focus on starting out 5 and 10. So you want to work to inhale up to 5 seconds, so it goes like this. So it goes inhale 5 seconds, outhale 10 seconds. Okay? Outhale. I don't know if that's a word or not. So this is how it looks. Okay? Let's do it once. And you just keep going and doing that. Okay? And you go and you count inside your head. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2. As you're letting go till 10, right? And you keep doing that, and you keep doing that, and you keep doing that, and what you'll find is the breath. Your mind will be pulling you off in all these different places, but you keep bringing it back to the breath, and bringing it back to the breath, and bringing it back to the breath, and once you get calm enough, and once you practice enough, then you can switch to 10 and 20. So 10 seconds on the in breath and 20 seconds on the out breath, and that's a really slow breath, right? And you don't need to get to 10 and 20 to have an experience. A lot of times I don't get to 10 and 20. A lot of times I just do 5 and 10. And if 5 and 10 is too hard, you can do 3 and 5. Okay? But if you just keep going and you keep going and you do this daily, and when the ego arises, you just go back to the breath. When the thoughts arise and the distractions, you go back to the breath. The trick is focus. The trick is really about consistent, determined, committed focus. What will happen is, over the course of a couple days or a week, or more maybe, or less maybe, you will have created momentum. And at some point, the momentum builds up. And you're just breathing like you always have been, but something else starts happening. And it's like a magic trick. It's like remembering that you are everything and everything is you. That there is nothing that you need to worry about. And a lot of this doesn't, these energies don't come in words. I'm, when I say these words about what they mean to me, that's me translating what it means to me off of my, my development, my research, and my experience. They mean kind of we all kind of would translate it differently. It's important to really feel the energy and not need to understand it intellectually with words, because words are linear concepts, and if we need to put a nonlinear concept in a linear word before we're able to really do so well, we'll lose the nonlinear the true download, and we'll replace it with some flimsy thing that's not actually accurate. So it's really important to let these awarenesses really stay safe and not introduce them to anything that might allow them to be disrupted. Don't tell anybody that's a bad, you can, if you imagine how they'd act and they'd be not so nice about it, or they blow you off, or they don't really care, don't tell them. Keep it to yourself. Keep it sacred. Because when you tell people, even if they just don't care, and if they're just whatever about it, it destroys the sacredness that you once held about it. It's really damaging. And it's okay. Eventually you learn how to be able to do that, and how to be integrated enough to be able to talk about all this stuff and not feel the energy and have balance with it all. But starting out, I would say really keep it sacred to yourself, these experiences that you have, and just go back and have more and have more and have more, and they will grow. It's pretty wild. It's really cool. I'm really excited for you guys to be able to start to have some really profound experiences if you haven't before. It's definitely one of these things that all humans should have. It's our true nature to be spirit. It's not our true nature to be this body. And we don't feel at home. Even if we think we feel at home, when you connect with spirit, it's like the home that you didn't know that you left, that you once lived in, that is your home. It's your forever home for billions of years with love. And I'm going off on a tangent. It's just really incredible. I geek out about it just because I've had this experience, and I'm starting to be able to have it more often now, and it's just really special. It's something really, really exciting for us humans. And so the next part, step 3, is as you come back into your body. And I was kind of just going over step 3. So it's the importance of integration. It's the importance of remembering and believing that it's real. Because when you open your eyes after coming back, especially when you're new to meditation, a lot of times what will happen is immediately it'll just feel like a dream that was kind of weird, not really real. Even if some profound stuff happened, it's kind of it's an interesting thing that happens. And what happens is when we open our eyes, our ego just turns back on and gains control of the control board and just starts running the show just like it always did, like nothing ever changed. And so it's really important to come out of these experiences and out of these meditations bringing with you what was given to you in the meditation back to this realm, bringing it from dream to waking state, All right, guys, so step 3. And so step 3 is basically after you've connected with your breath and you've built this practice where you can focus on your breath, right? You've trained yourself. You know how to sit and breathe. The ego might get the better of you sometimes still, but you've learned how to do this, how to sit and breathe, right? It doesn't matter if you've had experiences or not, but once you know how to sit and breathe, you can move on to step 3. And so step 3 is becoming aware of the sensations and the tension or lack of tension or pressure or just all of this. It's really, a lot of it's just tension and pressure and tenseness in our body. And so what you want to do is you want to start at the top of your head and your forehead. That's where I usually start, because it's usually pretty easy to feel my forehead. And this is after you've been breathing for a while, right? But after you've been breathing for a while, you're more calm and you're more sensitive and you're more aware. You can hear more, you can feel more. And so when you start to put your awareness on your forehead and you release the tension on your forehead, then you can move it down to your eyes and your ears and release the tension there, and your jaw and your neck and your shoulders, okay? And then down through your body, each arm, your chest, your stomach, right? Just moving through these different areas. And you can go into specific areas as you feel pressure and tension and try to just let yourself have an experience. Really what you're wanting to do is feel what's happening in your body and relieve the pressure as you can. As you become aware of your ability to release tension, you release the tension, you move into another tense place and release more tension, right? Eventually, you'll get pretty good at being able to feel your body. And so once you're pretty good at being able to feel your body, you can basically at that point, you've kind of learned how to move your awareness around. Your awareness being your spirit. So when you put your awareness on your forehead and you feel your forehead, you're feeling your spirit is in your forehead. Okay? And so you can, after feeling the different parts of your body that you know, like your hands and your arms and your head and all this, right? Eventually, you'll get to the place where you're ready to start to feel parts of you that are not physical, like chakras. And so the heart chakra is the place everyone should start, probably. It's the largest chakra. It's like 100,000 times or 100 times bigger than our aura, or than any of the other chakras. It's a really big deal. Our heart chakra is very powerful. It's the center of our being. It's where our true nature comes from. It's where it's unconditional love. That's what it has to do with. And oneness, wholeness. And so what I would suggest is after you've gotten where you can feel your body and you've integrated that and you've done the breath work, and then now you can feel your body and you've learned to go into and release tension. You're having that experience, which feels great. It's quite profound in itself. Then I would suggest to start to meditate on your heart space, which is right where your heart is, right in the middle, right there. And feel the more sensitive and more subtle things going on, not in your body, but in what's happening there. It's kind of hard to describe, but you have energy moving through your system, and when you quiet down enough and you become aware enough of what's happening in your body, you can become aware of the next layer, which is ethereal energy. It's our light body. And this is where magical, Jesus-level miracle healings happen, when we learn to work with our chakras and work with our energy field first, before, behind our body. It's what our ailments are created first in energy, and then they manifest as physical. So they can go away the same way. If we take the energy out, the physical goes away. It's pretty wild. And so practicing tapping into the heart and then breathing into the heart and being with the heart in itself will open so many doors. It'll allow you guys to really see in a new way, have a new experience, like become kind of a new person to a degree. Because once you tap into the heart space, it's like you have a whole nother sense. Your heart is the part of you that knows right from wrong. It's the part of you that knows the right answer. It's the part of you that senses, and it's where intuition, like, I think intuition can come from the third eye, but true knowingness comes from the heart. And it's important to not go to the third eye first. It's important to work in these lower centers, so that when we get up to the third eye, we can actually handle it, and it doesn't go haywire, and we use it for bad because we're delusional and our egos still run the show. So, heart space. Focusing on the heart space. Find peace there. Let me see if I got anything else. I know this has probably been a long video. Yeah, and another tip with the heart space is just to, while you're there, to allow your emotions to just expand out of you, to allow you to feel everything. The heart really has to do with emotion and feeling and vulnerability. It has to do with all the stuff that we've been holding in. And so when you focus on the heart, let me know in the comments how you guys do with this. But when you focus on the heart, as long as we can be really tender and open with our vulnerability, very quickly we'll start to have a real experience with our heart space. So I'm excited for you guys. All right, let me show you guys where I'm at before I go. I meant to do this at the beginning of the video, but it's pretty cool. I'm in Prairie Creek State Park, Redwood State Park, up here in just south of Klamath, California, where we're staying. It is absolutely gorgeous here, guys. Alright guys, till next time, peacing out. I'll see you guys later. Y'all have a great rest of your week, day, morning, evening, afternoon, and keep connecting, keep grounding, stay strong. I believe in you guys. Hang in there, and I'll see you next time.